There were some interesting excavations here in the 1930s when the monument was in a very poor state, and there was an attempt really to restore the monument and make it more presentable to sort of the general public. And in the course of those excavations carried out by some very well-known archaeologists, Raleigh Radford and his assistant Croft Andrew, they were able to find the original socket holes for some of the stones which had fallen over, some of the stones which had disappeared. And what we see today when we look at the monument is the central stone circle has been totally restored by the excavation. The northern circle just to my left and beyond was partly restored, whereas the third circle, the southern circle, wasn't worked on at all. So what you're looking at now when you come to the Hurlers is a partly restored ancient monument. In the 1930s, when the decision was made to restore this very dilapidated ancient monument, there are three circles, as we've explained, and the central circle was completely restored. And the stone that I'm standing next to now, as you can see, is sort of set into a concrete plinth and is very elevated. And the reason for this is because the archaeologists, they wanted to try to make sure that they recreated the monument, restored the monument to an authentic sort of an appearance. They wanted all the stones to be set at the same height, if that was possible. We've got an excellent set of photographs of the 1930s excavations at the Hurlers, and from these photographs we're able to see in a very graphic way how they put the stones back into their original socket holes, the ones which were leaning or the ones which had fallen over. And in this photograph here, one can see quite clearly the stones have all been originally dressed very, very beautifully, so the Bronze Age people who erected this monument would have dressed the stones, made them in particular shapes. This one here has got a very pointed shape, and it's being lowered into the ground on a winch. There's some protective covering to sort of protect the stone, and it's being lowered into the original socket, which was excavated by, it was properly excavated by the archaeologists to sort of see if there's anything in the sockets before they lowered the stones back in, and then secured by concrete to sort of make sure that the stone is held fast in the ground. Well, one of the things to remember is that when the archaeologists were here in the 1930s, they found that some of the stones from the circles were missing, and in an effort to try to recreate the circle as a perfect restored monument, they looked in areas where there weren't any stones for the socket holes, and even though they couldn't find the right stone to place back into the socket hole, what they did is they marked the locations of those socket holes by putting in granite stumps. So here we see a bit of a stump of a stone, not the original standing stone that was here 4,000 years ago, but one that was placed here in the 1930s.